I got to iron their clothes. I got to be up at 6. Yo, dog, people are living literally, fam, where they don't get a free moment to think about nothing but what they got in front of them. So you asking them to think outside a box that they don't even know exists. Fam, niggas got 2 jobs. We just said you might have a kid at home or 2 kids at home. You got 2 jobs. Might be in a single parent household. Fam, the mom is on a fucking hamster wheel. You privileged, yo.
Alan's not thinking
You
about
sound like a fucking Republican, yo. Read a book. You could get better. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, yo, dog.
Let's just say that they're on public transportation. I'm saying that because we're in New York.
That hot ass bus.
They don't have AC on the buses?
I don't know.
Oh. You're privileged. You're privileged.
I said it. We privileged.
But I'm just saying, like, Alan, real talk, if you somebody that is on this hamster wheel, you have to think about it. When you're on that train or that bus, you sleep.
True.
You trying to get that little extra 30 minutes. Ain't nobody reading no damn book.
You about to go home to a 3-year-old that's going to drive you up a fucking wall. So that's your
time to yourself.
I think we could take a note from the Mexican culture. Honestly, I'm not even being funny.
How?
Because since I deliver to all warehouses, and most of the employees are Mexican, and that is their first job or second job. Like, they just run shifts all day. If the government would actually would respect them and ask them how they do it, or like we would take a note from how they do it, we would see what you're talking about, like how to get out of it, because they don't have those privileges that we have.
But they also coming from they have a more they have a reality of what life could be like.
Privileged.
To compare that is not here. They know what it's like to be in a different country.
The privilege is in America,
and
opposed to
be clear. The longer they stay here, their mind state shifts.
Yeah.
Like, I've owned a construction company for 20 years. Fam, some of them niggas are spoiled as fuck now. They came over here because, again, you got to think what some of them are coming from is literally a compacted dirt floor.
Yep.
Like, they sleeping on a dirt floor. So now they come here. Some of them, I remember, like, you go in basements and niggas just got sheets hanging up and it's a cot and a dresser. So a lot of them, they take their money every day with them because they can't leave it in the spot because the niggas steal it. Right? So they carry their whole net worth around on them at some time. But then that grows. Now they got an apartment. Now they might just be renting a whole room. Now they ain't in the basement no more. They renting a room. And that grows into an apartment. And then this and that. Bro, they start to get lazy as a fuck and entitled just like everybody. The human nature here in America is relaxation, ease of, you know what I mean? Like,
peace, rest.
It grows onto them as well. Like,
rest be death.
That doesn't exist in India, though?
I don't know. Have you ever seen India?
No, I've seen the street.
It's coming because we building up the infrastructure. We had this conversation off in India
shut
now.
Down. So my homie was over there like 2 months ago. There was a little, like, I want to say little, but there was some type of like war going on within the people. They turned off the electricity button. So my homie couldn't fly out.
Even at the airport?
So if you had a ticket already, but he couldn't pull his ticket up on his phone.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't get Wi-Fi. You couldn't print out your ticket. If you already had it, like, you know,
a boarding pass that was,
a
boarding pass.
You could go.
That's why I be printing my shit.
But they
I promise you, I will put it on my phone. But when I get to the airport, I want my shit printed.
They turned. Look, no, he wasn't at the airport yet.
I've had my phone die. My boarding pass been on my phone.
They turned. So, but I feel like India don't play that game. Like America, we want everything to be fair. At some point, they're like, build this shit up. That's okay. I will turn this shit off if niggas start acting crazy.
For now.
Yeah.
For now.
You know what?
That's for now.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like that's some bullshit that could eventually happen here because you have to think about it. We have a lot of things are not codified or written into law. It's decorum and custom, right? But we have a president now
that
who does not abide by things that have always, even like shady niggas like Richard Nixon, you know what I mean? Or presidents that people hated. I can't even think of nobody else. Carter. But the point that I'm making is that they have always respected a level of decorum.
True.
And right now there are things happening. Come on, think about it. The highest voice and decision maker in the land since the Supreme Court's inception has been the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Right now, the Supreme Court has handed down an order.
We saw Vance and the other dude. Who Kamala picked for her, no, Kamala had picked the VP. Whoever she picked.
Doug somebody, right?
The two vice presidents They met.
Paris Waltz.
They shook hands. They complimented each other. They had a level of respect for one another. Like the guy talked about his son was sick. And Vance was like, oh, I apologize. I didn't know your son was sick. You know, I wish. Bro, that's how men should conduct themselves. This nigga Donald Trump is something that we've never seen before. And the bad part is he woke it up in the people that already had it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, a lot of motherfuckers are innately mean. And he woke that up in them and told them it was okay.
At the end of the day,
it's going to happen.
If any other president had behaved in the manner that he has, they would not be handling him with kid gloves.
Do you hear what Obama said?
Never.
Imagine if I came in here and said these things that he said.
Not even Obama.
No,
Clinton.
No, Obama
Bush.
just said it. Obama just said it.
No, but I'm just saying, think about people.
Y'all ragged on me for wearing a beige suit, my nigga.
Yeah, but I think the difference
This nigga
is,
said walk up and grab him in the pussy. And women still voted for the nigga.
I posted it. Like, but you got to think about it. We're living in reality, and I think that's what people need to understand. And right now, too many times in life, we've curated this fantasy of what we're supposed to be and what we believe ourselves to be, but you are forgetting who the fuck you are as a person. There are more animals that are inhumane by nature that are working, that are in positions of power, and it will always be that way. I'm not with the whole narrative of trying to turn my shoulder to what exists, especially when we know that technically speaking, it exists way more or equal to the ones that don't.
But I'm a fan of, you could think whatever the fuck you want, but you have to have a level of respect. And I think that you have to have a level of decency and decorum. He's allowing people to say, fuck that.
But why?
It's always existed, but we've always maintained a certain level of, you could go down south, right? In the South, they be racist as fuck.
That's how I like my race.
But the white people will say good morning to you.
Mm-hmm.
How y'all doing today?
They'll
hold the door for you. You're not fucking with my daughters, my sons, my nothing. But we have a level of respect. You gonna stay over there? I'm gonna stay over here. We know where we stand.
Very true. But
we still respect one another on an outward surface. Right? What Donald Trump has awakened in the people is slam the door in their face. Right? Don't speak no more. All of that shit to me is whack. And now you have a younger generation growing up thinking that that's the way to be. That's not the way to be.
That's the way they were already. But the younger generation.
But no, you have to think about this. We're talking about the federal government.
Yes. Saying
federal
fuck the people.
Government saying fuck the people. We literally pay a lot of taxes so that we can have certain things, so that we can have children who have access to IEP, so that we can have people who have student loans from the federal government, so that old people can have medical coverage, so that all of these things, we pay for that. So why on earth would we ever be okay with someone that's taking it away?
Saying fuck them.
Yeah.
He's not even taking. He's saying fuck y'all.
I don't understand. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
I think the whole thing was a mask, though. As to like Rico's point, is like he's just putting it in our face. It's always been there.
That's not true.
No, it's the federal government. They have.
That's not true.
There's a history. Like you.
My thing is. I think you always thought you had more power than you had.
That's possible.
Thank you. That's all it is.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think people think that.
Just people in general. I think they let us think that we ran some shit. And if we voted, it's gonna go a certain way. If you yell and you scream
and protest,
you ride and you protest, we'll listen to you and we'll maybe change a few things. But that just was never the case.
It's not an agreement. This has been a dictatorship forever, and Trump is highlighting he's demonstrating what he wants to do is possible, and it does not matter about the steps that need to typically be taken.
So,
no.
Dictatorship has not always been going on in the United States.
I think it was dressed very well.
And I think, bro, he told the people in West Virginia he was going to bring coal back. First time he won. Yo, dog.
Rubber in them.
You said West Virginia, so it makes
bro,
sense.
No, listen.
I be wondering, how do they fucking believe this shit? I don't get it.
Bro, but no, you got to see the people I'm arguing with today. They're not from West Virginia. They black people from New Jersey. They black people from DC. They black people from progressive places that I'm arguing with on a day-to-day basis that are a part of this nigga's cult.
That's wild.
But here's where I lose my brain.
You voted for Trump, yo?
No, I didn't vote. Here's where I lose my
yes.
brain.
Yeah.
Here's whatever. I cannot understand, right? And I just want to highlight on one part that you said, that people don't realize that they're in a cult regardless. They've been in one. And because it's an opposing one.
What's the cult?
The Democratic Party.
All of it, like I can make a whole laundry list, but it's more than just the two parties, right?
Everything's a cult.
Yeah, this is all you're in a cult here, or you're in a cult here, you're in a gang here. This one doesn't like this one.
We're using cult like really loosely because cult has like a very specific...
So okay, how about this? We have Muslim here, we have
Cult-like
Christianity
following.
here.
Cult-like following.
Cult-like following, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You have this religion here that beefs with this religion. You have this Democratic Party here that beefs with this. And just because it's an opposing thing, we don't understand that you're just on the opposite side of the situation, but you're still in one too.
Right.
Right? So my thing is like when we start to really say like, you know what? I'm actually being controlled by something, despite if I'm on the winning side for one period of time or if I'm on the losing side. Right. But they're both literally detrimental to society.
And you know the people that push the divide? The elite 1% that makes y'all beef with each other.
You know what that comes down to? Fucking Citizens United. Like that is the root cause of all of this. The fact that the billionaires and the oligarchs and the ultra rich are even able to put money behind these people. It is Citizens United. Look the shit up because it would take it would take us. Fam. No, it is Citizens United is what allowed for super PACs. It allowed for them to be considered people and to have free speech. And it's total bullshit. That is literally the impetus of all of this bullshit. But anyway,
I just think that like you ever seen Judas and the Messiah?
Was that with Fred Hampton? Yeah. Okay.
He went to the poor whites.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "Yo, y'all beefing with us. Y'all kids eating the same shitty food our kids eat. They got y'all thinking we don't fuck with y'all. They got us thinking y'all don't fuck with us. The same people that's oppressing your kids and got your kids getting a shitty education are giving my kids a shitty education." He went to the Hispanics. He said, "Yo, nigga, we the same." He went around and he got all the marginalized groups to now come together and say, "Yo, this is our enemy, not y'all." It's like saying, "Yo, the Crips and Bloods in California was beefing forever." Right? And motherfuckers was coming in buying all the real estate. So y'all beefing on the surface over some shit, but we basically, one of my professors, the same professor I told you about, he said, yo, when he used to go to Liberia back in the day, he said, yo, you see 14-year-olds walking around with big-ass guns in Liberia while Goodyear, Firestone is over there stealing all the rubber. Because Liberia was the biggest rubber-producing country in the world for a long, long time. So, fam, we just got y'all over here beefing over some silly shit, and we taking every fucking thing under y'all nose.
That's the noise.
That's the noise. We beefing with niggas out here shooting each other. All these abandoned buildings been abandoned for 20 or 30 years, and now what? Now downtown coming.
Mm-hmm.
What does a revolution look like in our age right now?
It's impossible. It's impossible.
I think we're too comfortable.
It's impossible.
I don't think
it's impossible.
Is it comfort?
Yes.
You think it's comfort?
I think it's selfishness.
I think it's scared.
But I think they run hand in hand.
Ignorance.
I don't think so. I think people know and still won't do shit because to do something, you got to give up your comfort. You got to now you can't be selfish.
I think that I'm just having a thought. Mm-hmm. So if we consider what a revolution is today, I think, and I'm going to say this for Black people as far as a revolution, I think it's us focusing on like key pillars. 1, family. 2, like making sure we have stable homes or educating our children. And I'm not saying go to college, this and that. I'm saying education. You need a basic education, and then you need an education beyond basic education that is going to create a profession and a lifestyle and bring money. Mm-hmm. And then I think from there, I think that's when it shoots off into other things. But I think until the family it has some sort of focus, and maybe not even just like husband-wife family, maybe like family. When we get back to like just our
community.
Yeah.
I think we're too selfish. Fam, we won't all right, this is a revolution because you don't got to bring no guns out. Martin Luther King led a revolution against a bus company.
I think that's the issue. I want to stop you there. I think what you're saying has been happening, and I think it's not respected because it's not violent. And I think for me, in my mind, I see the revolution has to be violent.
I don't think so.
It must be.
I don't think so.
Like,
I think that's an old school
I think it's
revolution.
fear,
I got to
not
be
comfort.
violent. I think today you kill them with money.
Yeah.
I
We
don't
too selfish. We are too selfish
I think it's
to
money.
stand. Fam, you think they said Target getting their asses whipped right now, right? Look, how long will niggas not shop at Target and shop at Amazon based on their own comfort level? We are too selfish to stand in anything. Fam, do you know what it took for them niggas to cripple that bus company? Motherfuckers walked.
3 years.
They walked. You think one of us will walk 4 miles today?
Yeah.
So we not willing to sacrifice not going to Target. You think a nigga gonna be willing to sacrifice some real shit?
But I think people are sacrificing.
are.
Not
Some
going to
people are.
Target. So
Some people are.
I think people who are willing to move their dollars, and you just said this, it's
Mhm.
money. If
It's
people are willing
economic.
to move their dollars,
Mhm.
that's how we.
I think that
That's part of the revolution.
My nigga Gucci could come out tomorrow and say black people can suck my dick.
in 6 months, and we
In
just
6
watched it.
months?
Yeah.
Black people gonna wear that shit. It represents a
No.
status thing. So I think for black
That's exactly
people,
what it
until we can break the I want to be the king of the castle mode and really have a real community. Even what you talked about with family. Most people can't develop a family because they too selfish. They want 50 girls or 50 niggas.
Or they can't afford it.
Ooh.
But I think that,
Oh,
that
that.
They can afford it.
no, I'm saying the ones that can't, majority people can't. I think that what we have to understand is that we're looking at things from so much of a smaller level. Fuck Target, fuck Walmart. Those are entities that you can play with. You can't play with the. Go ahead and sit the money. Keep the money against the federal government, right? You think that that's gonna be you think they're gonna do an economic war with a bunch of people who literally they already find a way to bury us year by year, decade by decade? They're going to move the goalposts if we try to use money. They're going whatever resource we think is a resource, they're going to move the goalposts every single time.
What you think you gonna do when you go start picking up guns?
We're not talking about guns though.
He said violence. Violence.
Violence isn't. You could burn down their stores the same way they did it in Black Wall Street. The same way you could do it to them.
Who does it hurt?
Everybody, but you have to have a reset.
Not stores that we shop at.
Who? That's not true. Who would it hurt? What store can you burn down that is white people owned or entity and establishment owned that it does not come back and affect you? I'm listening.
I'm not talking about Target.
I'm telling.
I was gonna say an Amazon warehouse, but
Tell me.
But that is
Pick
gonna
one.
affect, that is gonna affect.
Fam, we don't own
us.
anything infrastructurally. So you burning down a store, my nigga, is like killing an ant.
But let's
They
say
just gonna get insurance money for it.
So you're saying that the majority of the people are going to ostracize you for spending that money. That's not going to be a majority. Because it's going to be a baddie that says, yo, he got on a $1,500 hoodie. That means he has some money. And now we worship money in this society.
She-Devil.
We worship money in this society. I don't give a fuck how. I don't care if it's real estate money. I don't care if it's gambling money. I don't care if it's scammer money. I don't care if it's podcast money. We worship money in this society. So the people that can show I have money are going to be praised. It was a time where if you got money from ill-gotten means, you were shunned. Now, niggas, scammers are praised.
Wild.
They are applauded.
Thieves are praised, bro.
Prostitution is a praise. I don't believe that you can shake hands with the devil, especially using his own resource, aka money, right? And partner with him and think that it'll be a partnership that'll honor and ultimately become a solution from a revolution using currency. I believe that in order, like back in the day, if you was gonna get into an argument, you got to go for the jugular. That's how you win the argument. I don't believe in this nitty pitty. Let's hold out. I could fuck around and we could make Walmart sales drop, but they are so well orchestrated that if we tried to use money and money was affecting them, they would find a way to make a new money, a new currency. They'll find a way to move the goalposts. And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna chase something that they've created to put you in control. Currency was put for power. Before it was a bargain system. Now we introduce currency so then we can have a status classism system. And now you want to use something that they've developed, that they've also continued to develop, and used against us on a day-to-day, year-to-year, decade-to-decade basis, I don't believe it's anything other than destroy and rebuild. That's what I believe.
I want to address this point. He asked him, what did he think would be the way to go? I don't think that change could be made from outside. I think you have to get inside to actively affect change. So when you start talking about war on a deeper level, you got to know your enemy as well as you know yourself. That's what Shang Tzu said. You can't know your enemy if you don't go inside and see what the fuck they doing. We seen Palestinians throwing rocks at tanks for the last 50 years. Did they dent anything? They didn't dent a fucking thing, picking violence, right? So when you go punch your oppressor or when you punch your enemy, guess what they're going to do? They're going to modify the laws to send your black ass to jail for life. So you go punching motherfuckers if you want to. You want to talk about laws being changed? When you start that violent shit, they got way more guns and they got the law on their side. Your black ass is going to jail. And guess what they're going to do to you in jail? Make money off you.
Imagine if everybody...
have you packaging Microsoft Windows. Now make money off your violent black ass. You gotta beat these niggas at their own game.
Nah, I think that's part of their game. I mean, that's part of our game. I mean, if you put us in a situation where we don't stop and we continue to see it through. So let's just say hypothetically, everybody becomes violent. They put you in jail. Now, first of all, there's not enough correction officers that are going to be able to stop 2, 3, 40, 50 million black people if allegedly.
You be in 23-hour lockup.
No.
You can't be.
Stay here.
You don't need
You
no
only
CO.
got, but so
Rico,
I think there has to be a.
I went to Rikers 3 years ago. I was in Rikers 3 years ago.
Like in jail?
Yes, the real Rikers Island. My nigga, they had 2 COs for 90 people. All it is niggas and spics killing niggas and spics. You think they give a fuck? You talking about they don't got enough COs. They want y'all to kill each other.
But that's the point.
That's not fixing our problem.
No, it is. It's actually highlighting our problem.
Yeah,
our problem is they could put 2 people and put you 2 together and make you fight like beta fish and not understand that there's 500,000 of you that can go ahead and walk over these 2 people. If you stick to the plan and see it through, no matter where they put you, we stick together throughout the whole process. At some point, we're going to beat the numbers. Is there going to be bloodshed? Yes. Unfortunately, I believe that's how they got the country. That's how we're gonna have to regain the country.
Rico.
So I mean, look, that's just my.
So let me. No. I want to ask him a question.
Are you saying community?
No, I want to.
Saying community, but
ask him a question.
But with
violence.
violence.
When you say the
violence.
when you say the we, right? When you say the we, are we referring to whites versus blacks?
I'm saying
Poor versus rich. What is the we versus the them?
I think the we is
That's very important to be determined.
Whoever wants to change, whoever's struggling, whoever's down as bad as we're down.
Cool. So let me stay here. When you start talking about a revolution, you have to be willing to give it all. How many niggas do you know really willing to give it all? All the shit, it sounds good when we painting it on the wall. How many niggas you know really willing not to come home to their kids tomorrow for an ideal that may not work? You? I'm not. Nigga, I got a 2.5-year-old kid at home. So my thing is to make the best possible life out of the shit that I can and the information that I got and keep getting information so that I can play this game of life to the best of my ability. Jay-Z, niggas dissed him when he started fucking with the NFL, right? How he gonna move the needle in the NFL if he don't go sit at the table with the same motherfuckers that
you think that it's moving the needle and it's not.
You might think it's not moving the
Not
needle.
moving the needle.
Let me finish. You might think it's not moving the needle because it might not get moved in his generation.
It's not gonna get moved ever.
Blue Ivy might own the NFL by the
will
time.
never.
You saying that, my nigga?
Will never.
And they said that we would never be billionaires. They said we would never be the president. They said we would never do a bunch of shit that niggas have done.
No, what I'm trying to say
Violence ain't get us nowhere.
Even if we did become a billionaire, just think about it, right? A billionaire today is not the same, is nowhere near the same equivalence as a billionaire from when they even said that. Right? So if I'm really thinking about it, like
we have more than 5,000 of them worldwide.
But listen to what I'm trying to say is, right now we have an influx of millionaires, especially within our community. $1 million is not the same $1 million.
Okay.
Right? $100,000 is not the same $100,000. I'm not saying it's not a lot of money, but it's nowhere near. If they make this statement in 1950 saying black people will never be a millionaire, and we fast forward 75 years, that $1 million that they was talking about is we're still not that.
Well, yeah, but that's gonna change with time, regardless.
No, but bigger than that,
back to everything.
$1 million for a black person 30 years ago, you could count them shits. Now we kicking ass. So what I'm telling you is, motherfuckers be expecting change to happen overnight. You can't get a 500-year head start and then think that we gonna make it up in 10 years.
Exactly.
Fam, we are making leaps and I hate that this is not being highlighted enough. Fam, black people are making leaps and bound jumps every fucking day. Every single day.
It's a hamster.
I told that shit to somebody yesterday.
It's a hamster wheel.
It's not a
hamster wheel.
It's not a hamster wheel.
Not even that.
Fuck the president.
Yeah,
I don't even want to kill him. He don't even do that.
He a puppet. He a puppet.
Not even
Fuck
that.
the
Thank you.
president.
We're definitely not going to do
Fam,
that.
for us to have black communities of affluence is a thing.
Yep.
That today they not gonna come blow up and shoot up.
With
That's
violence.
But that's because they
They didn't do that with violence.
But they found a way to non-violently control us. They breadcrumb us to fucking death.
And I'm asking you what you have yet to tell us. How do you get away from it?
You have
Give
to
me some specifics. Don't say some vague, ambiguous shit.
Stick to the fucking plan of like
What's the plan?
What does violence look like? Is what he like specifically?
Well,
You're saying
I don't think we should be speaking on this.
no. I think you should because I think
It's
that
not
we don't
gonna
understand.
happen.
It's
fam.
not gonna happen.
When you go get a gun, these niggas gonna write a law that they could slaughter your whole fucking house
But my point,
Mangione.
legally.
But my thing is this: you're talking about from a one person. Going back to Aaron's point, I'm talking about from a community standpoint. If you have one person trying to be violent, it's not going to go far. If you have 100 people, it's not going to go far. But if you
can't
have
get school, you're not going to be able to do full scale violence. That's the thing because you have too many people who are comfortable.
What are you talking about, fam? What are we talking about? This is some fairy tale bullshit.
Okay, so with
We-
that,
we are
what
past
about
that.
the people that are already within the companies that she's talking about? How you get into the companies. What about the people that are already there? How about that? Because there are people that are already there within these companies that can.
Making significant changes inside these companies.
Okay, so these people that are making significant changes, they're cool with everything that's going on, or can they look back and say, "Hey, come up here with us. This is what's going on the inside. This is what we can do to change this."
But I think that's happening, and it's happening, it's
just
happening
not
slowly.
happening in a rapid pace that even if it was happening in a rapid pace, you wouldn't see it.
How long do you think we have though?
Hundreds of years.
What do you mean?
No, I mean before that happens, before a revolution occurs.
I don't think a revolution will ever occur because y'all still have yet to identify who the us and the we are. What revolution y'all have yet to identify? And I think people are way more.
that are
I think
struggling.
people are way more.
So poor versus rich.
What? So now that becomes relative because the nigga that makes $200,000 a year says you're poor, and the nigga that makes $20,000 looks at the $200,000 a year nigga like the enemy. That's the op.
Now, if he says, listen, because actually this has been a
That's the
proven
op.
fact. A lot of people making $250,000 a year living check to check. So if they come with the same Judas movie approach, listen, I might have a better house, but I'm still struggling.
But you not gonna look at them like they one of you.
But they're saying I'm with you. So it doesn't matter about how I look at you. I have your support with me alongside this whole thing.
Wrong. Fam, if somebody comes up to you and says, yo, I make $300,000 a year, but I'm broke, you want to smack the shit out of them if you make 30 grand.
Yeah.
You want to smack their face off. If you nigga, you live in a nice house, your kids go to good schools, you drive a Mercedes Benz, and you got a refrigerator full of food. Don't tell me you one of me. It's an insult to a nigga that makes 30 grand that's struggling.
But we're not saying that you are them. We're saying that you are with them. The same type of
He's talking about them being an alliance.
Thank you.
How about
You
this?
have to be accepted to be in an alliance. So I'm telling you that the man
So
that
you
makes
don't think
300 grand that says, yo, I'm with you. Let me give you a one better. When the white people stand with the black people and say, I'm with y'all cause, how many black people reject them?
I'm your ally. I'm your friend. I believe and see what you're going through. They don't reject them. They don't shun them away. But the second a white person starts trying to say, well, listen, I could feel your pain, that's when it's like, no, you can't.
The same way somebody that says, I'm with 300 grand, like I'm one of y'all, I'm broke too.
He's not saying that.
Check
He's
to
saying,
check.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And what if he makes that 300 grand and he knows he's supposed to be making $1 million? That's why he feels that way.
Damn.
A common enemy. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. A lot of people click up in their constituents. That's just that's what life is.
Bro, listen to this. This is something I've learned in my 49 years. In my 49 years on this earth, the motherfuckers with the money, it equates to a level of power. So I don't give a fuck what nobody out here saying. I don't care about all this fairy tale shit. These niggas could wipe poor people off the planet and not do a day in jail.
Oh yeah.
They not even gonna think about doing a
You
day.
think that they about to shake your hand and do business with you and use the economic approach and hire a couple of the minorities and or
you present value? Yes.
No, it's not. At the end of the day, you're still not valuable because if you were valuable, they would have already seen you as valuable before. They see you as a resource that they can utilize but never respect. It's a big difference.
What do resources have? Value.
Okay, but
what are you talking about?
Is it a respected value where I'm going to allow it to be progressive?
I don't need them to respect me, Rico.
To
do business with them so that my family and my lineage can excel. I don't need them to respect me. You can't tell me that black people today are not further along than where they were in yesteryear. You cannot tell me that. My nigga, and you 30.
I can tell you this. The last time and all the times that we tried to use a financial approach where we were owners, they have already proven to do something to stop it. So what I'm saying is that your fantasy has already been proven wrong. So
100 years ago.
It don't matter. They'll do it today. You just said. Wait. You just said they will wipe you off the face of this earth and not do it.
Using your approach, which is violence.
Using your approach too. Because I could be a crime.
What are you talking about?
Point is that there are criminals that
not only violence.
Yo, we bouncing around because now y'all not being definitive, so we can't even argue a point or debate a point when y'all not.
You're not paying attention to
I asked you what's your plan.
Guys,
what's your plan?
My point is this.
What's your plan?
I'm gonna tell you my point. Then my plan. My point is this. You're talking about somebody who's proven to be a criminal and somebody or some entity that has proven to be a criminal and they actually criminalize people who took your approach. So what I'm saying is the same people who do not get chastised, the same people who do not get held to the same judgment, right? Even with your way is not a solution. So now if we try a new way, right? And you're saying that they're going to do the same thing. They're going to basically utilize their power and not pay for their sins. Right? That's what I'm getting from it. But what I'm saying is our way has never been done before, to my knowledge, that I can actually pinpoint in history within the last 100 years.
Wait, it
you
has.
have yet to tell me what your way is.
You say violence like
you've yet to tell me what your way is.
Murder, kill.
And you think that hasn't been done? That's Nat Turner.
No, I haven't. I don't.
There were hundreds. No, guys. I don't want us to ever downplay.
I'm saying.
Listen.
Like,
No.
get a combination of both.
Just listen. There were hundreds of revolts. And the thing is that none of it is like Nat Turner was obviously. There were hundreds of revolts.
They're gonna silence you niggas and keep it out of the history books and not give the rest of you niggas an idea to jump feeling froggy.
It is. I'm telling you, violence has happened a lot, Rico. Yes.
When?
There were hundreds of revolts.
There's something
and
happening.
It didn't work.
But it does.
None of them worked.
There's a revolt right now.
The Haiti revolution did not work. They settled.
And it was a financial, and it was a financial.
They made a financial settlement.
Crippled them financially.
Yo. He was. He was a general. And look, so if you're a general, you learn some strategies. You know everything they know. Fam. So you can. So it's different in America because the blacks in America were not allowed to have any ranks. Bigger than that. Haiti, they were like, I'm talking about these black people in Haiti before the revolution. They used to come to the United. They said 300 Haitians in Savannah to fight. When the French Revolution was happening with America, the Haitian they helped. They helped. Have white people. They sent them
in Louisiana.
So when they came for the revolution, they were already pre-trained. But bigger than that, Haitians chose violence. At the end of the day,
they were crippled economically.
Wait. At the end of the day, the French said, "We'll give you y'all country. Pay us for it, or we're gonna blow y'all the fuck off the map with our ships that's at the coast. Pay us for it." And the Haitians been paying the fucking French people for hundreds of years in the billions to where they could not establish any level of real independence. They gave y'all this facade of independence. Y'all could never establish independence in Haiti.
Wait, hold on. By resources, I mean tactics for war, right? I'm not talking about money, gold. I'm not talking about commodities, right? I'm talking about tactics for war, right? We also have to
I
understand.
want you to address this. You think the average black or poor person in the United States today has a tactic mentality for war?
Okay.
They doing it to each other.
So what I'm saying
They
is
killing each other every day.
I understand both points. What he's saying is it's not just going to be the poor people or the poor black people. They're going to align with other people that are trying to fight with them of all cultures, all races. That is what he's saying. And you're saying
You believe
from
him?
the inside.
I'm asking you, do you believe that what he's saying? Do you think that somebody gonna come off
of it? I believe a part of it is that we have been living this.
We are too old for this.
You guys are saying
we're too old for this.
No,
You think somebody that lives a comfortable life that makes $300,000 or $400,000 a year is gonna come align with these poor people to go to war with the niggas that they work for?
That's not what
I'm gonna be thinking twice.
There's a lot more.
What do we think?
But there's a lot more uncomfortable people than comfortable people.
We are always competing with each other,
So
bro.
we'll never have the goal. Say that.
So you think that black people that are competing with each other on a day-to-day basis, or poor people that are competing with each other on a day-to-day basis, are gonna somehow come together and defeat these people?
Take up arms.
What are we talking about? We can't buy a building together. You think we're gonna defeat some niggas that's worth trillions of dollars together?
What
I
the
believe
point is
human nature is steeped in violence. I believe some people want to do that.
Cool.
we saw
Who wants to do it more?
Get them people.
Who wants to do it more?
the people who are struggling, right, or the people who are uncomfortable, or the people who feel wrong.
So why they ain't do it yet?
My thing is, because there's been fear installed. Just the same.
That's what I'm saying.
The same way.
Imagine a bunch of people that are John Q. How about that? Where their kids can't get fucking shit and surgeries for them. Imagine them all coming together.
Like Mangione, Luigi.
Imagine them all coming together.
Is there more poverty now in 2025 than there has been since 1990? Based on the cost of living, the average salary that people are making, and the you know, you think it's less poverty? I don't know. I'm just curious, because I would argue that poverty is growing, and if poverty is growing,
Poverty may be growing because the middle class is disappearing, but the cost of living was cheaper back then, so you don't really have a good correlation.
no, yeah. So that's
You know
what I'm saying.
Like you
If
don't have a good
If
correlation.
you take and add all of it, right? The cost of living, you know, and how much people were making. If poverty is growing, that is going to show that even with the circumstances of having more resources, more information, internet, AI, it's ironic that with all these new things, poverty is still increasing, if that is the case, right? That just goes to show it doesn't matter what resources they give us. Most of us, 9 out of 10 people who are born in that, are never going to get out of that.
Fam, it can't be whites versus blacks. It can't be poor versus rich, because poor versus rich comes at a scale.
Mm.
It's a scale. If you make $100,000 in Cleveland, nigga, you up. You make $100,000 in New Jersey, you not up. You live in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
If you go get a $600,000 house in Houston, that shit look like something. Get a $600,000 house in Newark.
What do it look like?
No.
A 25 by 100 lot.
Oh.
Oh.
That's what it looks like.
No, thank
Fucking
you.
crazy.
Not renovated.
It still need work.
You understand what I'm saying? That still need work done.
I mean, but speaking of Houston, Houston is closed. Like the cost of living is no longer affordable. Maybe
Yes.
if you come from here or California,
Keep your salary.
yeah, and keep your salary. Otherwise, it ain't affordable no
Yes.
more.
It's the new Atlanta. Remember everybody was hauling us to Atlanta, and Atlanta was popping. You could go get a house for one. Go down there now.
Hell no.
They in Houston.
Yeah,
They
child.
going to Houston. People are selling their houses in Atlanta, going to Houston, bro.
About to go to South Carolina or some shit.
Yo, that shit is getting
Yeah.
expensive. Charlotte ain't cheap no more. Charlotte ain't cheap no more.
The thing is, if you
Charlotte's
notice,
dope.
the
It's a nice
places
place.
have
It ain't
good
cheap
weather.
no more.
Typically, Houston was like, all right, we're gonna bite the bullet on some of the weather, but Atlanta was good weather majority of the year. They
Much
can't
better
do
weather.
Miami.
It was black people, yo.
That
Houston
weather.
is dope. Atlanta was dope because it was a black population that was progressive. Atlanta is
100%,
progressive.
yeah.
DC is progressive.
DC.
Houston is starting to be progressive, right?
No, but Houston has always had a solid
black culture. That's true. But now,
community.
the more people from up here that go to Houston, we pushing their prices.
Yeah.
Look, I'm building a house in Portugal right now. Portugal is hot right now because all the United States motherfuckers are moving to Portugal, running their numbers up. It's happening because people can't find jobs in the metropolitan areas. So now they have to go somewhere. So again, Donald Trump and them laid off all them people. 8,000 houses up for sale in DC in 2.5 months. So now the DC people are going to sell a house for 1.2. I'm going to go buy a $600,000 house in Houston.
All right, I have a question. Not sure. What if a revolution looked like relocation?
It's not sustainable, just FYI.
Do you own the shit that you're relocating to?
Yeah, like, for example, like if you buy it and like well, I don't know Portugal, but I would imagine if you buy a house in Portugal, you actually own it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, does revolution look like relocation in terms of people migrating somewhere else, starting businesses, keeping the community there? Maybe they save some type of, obviously, some money to sustain that cost of living for X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that maybe
the people that are already there not going to just let you come in there and take over?
Well, but we need people to come here.
No, we allow it here because, like I said, you talking about a revolution. We can't even organize to keep niggas from putting stores in our neighborhood. You think we going to organize enough to take down the most powerful entity on the planet?
No, I don't. I honestly don't believe that we can do one. I don't think that there is a real revolution that is happening.
You quiet, yo. I want your input, Mr. Malcolm.
I'm listening.
Yo, fam.
Speaking of horses,
I'm tell you niggas now, I'm not coming outside with no gun.
I'm
gonna whip their ass financially. I'm on your team financially. I'm on your team. You know what I mean? I'm not coming outside with no motherfucking banger.
This is what you do. We gonna run them out the crib. You buy the crib. We gonna run them out the store. You buy the store.
That's a plan. There you go.
Yeah.
Please drop the value down.
We gonna make this shit dangerous, and then you come in and buy it all.
When there's blood on the streets,
that's when you buy.
Buy property, nigga. Who said
Absolutely.
that?
Plan. You got a plan on 8 at the table.
Yeah, we just figured it out.
The most unsexy, uncool jobs are the ones that are, they're stable. They make the most money.
Everybody want to be a lawyer. Them niggas chasing ambulances.
Yeah.
But
you know what I'm trying to do full time though.
You get what I'm saying? Yo, fam, a lot of those jobs that we ridicule, all right, we all from New Jersey, right? In Newark, there's a dude that sold hot dogs on Central Avenue right by the graveyard. He was there since I was a little kid. Fam, he's a multi-millionaire from selling hot dogs. We won't sell them because it's not cute.
Shit, I will.
It's a glizzy.
You know what? I
don't eat them shits, but it is a glizzy.
I tell people all the time, Alan, I say like, I don't care. Yes, I'm a lawyer. Yes, I do real estate, so on and so forth. But if cutting grass
money
is gonna get me the money that I want, baby, I will go print me some shirts.
You are in a minority in that.
And I will literally, I done already thought about it. Like my mama's neighborhood, we'll say it's about, 30 houses on that one block. I'm willing to like go buy a lawnmower, hire one of my cousins, and take the whole block.
And get some YouTube videos and learn how to edge. And yeah.
I'm like, and I know how to cut grass.
Hispanic people that we talking about that come from other countries. All right, one year, a long time ago, I went to Italy. It was like 2005, right? I went to Italy. But I didn't go to like Rome or Venice, like the touristy shit where people speak English. I went to Otranto. Nobody. When I say nobody spoke English, nobody. And you over there like, you fucking, why fuck you don't speak no English? Nigga, you in my country.
Mm-hmm.
What entitlement we have as Americans to think that they supposed to speak English? I was there for 10 days. Miserable. When I came home, though, I had a newfound respect for these Hispanic people that come to this country that's mean as hell to them. They don't know the language. They know nothing about here. They don't know the demographic. They don't know shit. And they don't just survive. They thrive under these conditions. Fam, these motherfuckers be setting up landscaping companies and be making $2 and $3 million. These the motherfuckers that's buying the houses in the moderate neighborhoods, cash.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Bloomfield, they buying them cash. Go to Lyndhurst, they buying them cash. They not going to the Montclairs and the Westfields. No, as a matter of fact, let me take that back. Go to Warren. A lot of that whole population is Portuguese, and a lot of them work in construction. So what I'm telling you is, a lot of Warren is Portuguese.
I think y'all told us that.
But so what I'm saying is, fam, they don't take the cutesy jobs. They take the jobs that they can do, and they perfect that craft. They don't buy dumb shit. right? They don't buy Balenciaga. They not buying stupid shit.
Well, they might buy Balenciaga.
Yeah.
They still be wanting to stunt.
No, a lot of them, they kids are stunt.
Their kids will stunt. That's a fact.
They kids are stunt.
kids
The
be
father
fried
is
hell.
wearing Wranglers.
Wearing chrome hearts.
Yo, the father's wearing Wranglers.
Wait, but they also, I don't know about the Portuguese, but the Mexicans, they gonna have on some $1,200 ostrich boots now.
Okay.
Oh, you talking about
when
Texas? You ain't talking about New Jersey.
No, I know what I'm saying. When they get to a certain,
That's them cartel niggas selling that stuff.
I'm telling you,
They selling that wham-a-wham. The Mexicans and the Hispanics here,
Miguelitos.
damn, they not doing that shit. They putting that money up, bro. When I first used to go to Alpine, I'd be like, what the fuck do they do for a living? You see 3 vans, Figarelli and Sons Electric. The electricians are making the money. The HVAC niggas are making the money. The plumbers are making. I've owned a construction company for 20 years. Some of my plumbers wasn't born here, don't got no papers. One of my plumbers just put $600,000 down on the house. What we talking about?
I think that we also got to take into consideration about how we are when we're talking about from birth to adulthood versus somebody who might have come here from already humble beginnings for 18, 22 years of their life. First of all, they're adults and they're already understanding how to have a plan and strategize.
How the world works.
Yeah. Now you're talking about somebody who was 5 years old watching Michael Jordan play basketball. And so his whole life has been dedicated to playing basketball. Right? So like we have and I don't know about like all these different areas like Portugal, but I feel like American stardom is the most crippling thing that we have because I don't feel like a lot of other countries, they don't glorify the people to the magnitude that we do. And because of that, that's the thing that everybody chases, the stardom. And that's why they abandon those jobs.
They got stars.
But not like
Selena,
us.
they got motherfuckers over there.
She's from Texas.
She's a Mexican.
But
The Mexicans hold her up there with Whitney
I'm
Houston.
from Houston. I do too.
Oh.
Salinas, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, Salinas, trust me.
Yo, no, I'm just saying they got stars. Like when you go other places, they got stars. Maybe I think that's a bailout.
Oh, so our entitlement is what's holding us back.
I think that's a bailout. I think once you get grown, fam.
I think what he's saying is what we may want to aspire to is ill-placed. And
From a young kid.
Yeah. But however, when you think about family, take it back to family. I said this the other week. Lil' Kim was huge when I was a kid. Foxy Brown was huge. I ain't never in my life said, I want to grow up and rap. I want to go up and be Foxy Brown. I want to grow up and be, I didn't give a damn. Because you know what? At home, that wasn't what was impressed upon me. So again, when you get back to family and having a foundation and your parents know better and can teach you to do better, they will.
So basically, we need more.
I think you're right. I do think you're right. I think, but you could have. We know people. I'm sure everybody knows great people that had amazing parents. But when you hit that door, them outside influences are strong.
Stronger.
So maybe girls didn't want to rap, but Lil' Kim also said some shit that made some girls change their mind about doing some shit. I used to be scared of it. Now I throw lips to the shit.
But what is
She changed some mindstates out here, fam. Like,
but as employment, as a career, what does that change, though?
You're already pregnant, buddy.
Listen,
your whole life is different.
No, think about this. From a girl's perspective, I can't speak from a girl's perspective. I'm not a girl. What I did see was drug dealers in my neighborhood, and every kid in that neighborhood wanted to be them niggas. So even if you had a good household or not, your father might have bust his ass and y'all barely had food on the table. But I seen this nigga out here with the bad chicks, with the nice car that got way more respect than my Bronx Tale.
So how do we get around that?
Bronx Tale. The nigga told his father that drove a bus, the working man is a sucker.
Yeah.
He's a sucker. You get what I'm saying? Like, yo, you know what changes that? Success.
Yeah.
When your father sees, when your kids see my dad out here doing X, Y, and Z, now I want to aspire to do X, Y, and Z.
That's true.
I would wonder, because I wasn't there for this time, but like when there was times like Pablo Escobar, the influence that he probably had on his, heritage, his wherever he came from, I would assume a lot of people wanted to be drug dealers, right? So what I'm saying is it's easier to come from somewhere that doesn't have glorified wrong influencers or celebrities as what to be and aspire to be. And then you come to another place that is known for the land of opportunities as an adult without a tainted mindset. For me, the programming hasn't been done to you, so it's easier for you to succeed.
Why you think it ain't tainted?
Because it's not to the level, like, in comparison.
They got cartels over there, fam, chopping niggas' necks off.
Yeah.
We don't really got that.
Yeah, but that's not everybody can do
I
that.
think what he's saying is that they're not like that you have 15 years that you weren't programmed in what is ingrained in that particular society.
I think I get his point. And that's what I said. When I came back from Italy, I saw these people that just had a motivation to do better. I think they look at Americans like, yo, fam, if you can work hard, you can win. I've been working hard my whole life and we didn't win. So hard work is not new to me. I could come here and, fam, they don't do aluminum siding in South America. They don't have vinyl windows in South America. They don't have our same roofing style in South America. They don't have wood framing a lot of places in South America. They come here and learn that shit. They didn't come, they got masonry and ceramic in all of those countries. That's universal. But a lot of the shit that they come here, they learn in America and they take over our construction industry. They learned that shit here.
They ain't putting up sheetrock over there.
Yeah.
They gonna tape and float the hell out your house.
They learned that shit here. We won't take it because it's not a cute job.
So is there a way that we can have, just a suggestion, if we could have, say, a set number, say $300,000, just for our audience. If your business, as a Black business owner, makes $300,000, and it's lawn service, if it's electricians, if it's insulators, if it's blue collar jobs, can you tag your company so we can make them more visible? How about that? Because I don't think that. I think it's because we're not seeing, like, as to Rico's point,
Jigsaw Construction Group.
Jigsaw, there you go. That's one. I think we need to make them more visual instead of the stars and the entertainment. Maybe we gotta hoist them up.
Let people know how much they make. Like, and I don't know how many years I've been saying this. Trades make so much fucking money,
bro. It's not a cute job.
It's not a cute job, but like,
yo, listen, but
like, it's a cute life.
You don't see it
sometimes. Right, you gotta realize you also.
And my dad is a tradesman. That's why
I own a construction company. Me,
bro. But you ain't doing the work. You the GC.
You crazy? I'll get busy.
Are you the GC?
I do it all.
What you doing?
I tile. I sheetrock. I do everything.
Right.
I install everything. I do it.
All right.
I get busy.
Tell them
Don't let the light skin fool you, fam. I get busy. You know what I'm saying? I get busy.
I got that boot.